Welcome back everybody to the channel. In today's video, we're letting our DC bias show. I'm really just going to be explaining and yapping about why, in my opinion, DC Comics is the best publisher in comic books right now. If you disagree with me in any way on any of these following points, be sure to leave it down in the comments. But let's get into it, man. So to start off, obviously DC Comics has their Absolute line. Excellent stuff from Scott Snyder and the rest of the creative teams. Absolute Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern, and of course, Absolute Martian Manhunter. Just 6 really solid series. Although I did drop Absolute Green Lantern, I still think that it's worth a read, and those that have been checking it out after the fact on DC Universe Infinite or checking it out through the trades and stuff, they've been really enjoying it. So I think that the Absolute line is just so exciting right now out of DC Comics. They expanded all the time with stuff like the Absolute Evil one-shot or the Absolute Batman one-shot as well, like the annual. More annuals are coming. They're even expanding the line to include Absolute Catwoman, so giving us a mini-series delving into the background on one of these important Absolute Universe characters. So the Absolute line is super exciting. That's some of my favorite stuff coming out of DC right now. But in addition to that, they got a resurrected DC Vertigo line that's coming back starting in February. Some really exciting stuff coming out of that. So I didn't experience the first Vertigo wave. Obviously, I'm a newer comic book reader, but the Vertigo name has this cachet to it. You just know that it's a DC Vertigo title. It's probably, you know, well worth your time, well worth picking up and adding to your pull list. Some really exciting stuff coming. Obviously, the Nice House by the Sea series has been switched over to be DC Vertigo, but we also have some really cool stuff from Dennis Camp, Stepan Morian with Bleeding Hearts. We have The Perils of the Brutal Dark from Chris Kahn and Jacob Phillips, one of my favorite creative duos in the game. Kyle Stark, Steve Pugh are also teaming up again to bring us End of Life. We even have stuff later on from Mike Perkins and Ram V, the creators of that really great Swamp Thing run. So a lot of cool Vertigo stuff is coming, all different themes and all different genres. Really exciting that DC is bringing back the Vertigo line. In addition to that, though, they have this really cool initiative going on, a sort of expansion of DC All In. They're calling DC Next Level, sort of shining some light on some characters that haven't been getting a lot of love from DC. A lot of characters like Firestorm, Deathstroke, Lobo, and this is just the initial wave. We know that Etrigan's also getting a series. We know that Jamal Campbell is bringing back his take on Zatanna as well. So DC Next Level is going to be some really exciting stuff, being able to shine some light on some characters that haven't been getting a lot of love, like I was saying. And then let's quickly talk about the collected editions. So recently DC started up their DC Compact line of stuff, and this is one of the most exciting things to come out of the comic book industry. You're seeing a lot of different publishers sort of chase DC. DC is way ahead of the game when it comes to this sort of compact form factor. We're seeing Image Comics sort of take it and try to do something with it. Marvel Comics has their, I think they call it like the Premier collection. I'd much rather prefer these being $10 each. I think that's just such a great value that you're getting with these DC compacts. And the reading experience has been pretty good so far from all the different compacts that I've checked out. They translate really well to the squat format. So DC compacts, really exciting stuff. I'm definitely going to be covering DC compacts heavily here on the channel. And I did want to mention DC Finest as well. Just taking this historical sort of approach to all of DC's classic backlog. They have this long history of stuff, and it's cool seeing them give it sort of this new breath of life and introducing it to a new audience. We have some stuff like the classic origins of Superman, classic characters like that, where I have the Batman Year 1 and 2 one back there. But then also the DC Finest, they haven't been afraid to feature some of the more recent stuff. This is the Gail Simone Wonder Woman stuff from 2007. So yeah, just, you know, taking a really unique approach to what they decide to collect in the DC Finest, even throwing in some team stuff as well, like this Justice League. There's like Doom Patrol ones. They even have genre-specific ones if you want to focus on war or if you want to focus on stuff like horror. So a lot of different variety in what they're publishing for DC Finest. But I think that as an initiative, the collected edition initiative of DC Finest, it's just really cool stuff. And there's a lot that I have on my wish list that I hope to pick up soon. I think DC Finest, even though they're soft cover, I'm more of a hardcover guy, as you guys can probably tell from if you're a long time watcher of the channel. But these being such, you know, great value, you got $40 for a DC Finest typically, and you just get a lot of high page counts, and there's a lot of great stuff from DC Finest and the compact stuff as well. And then I did want to mention very quickly the DC Deluxe Edition, my favorite format in all of comic books, quite possibly. I just love the idea of a hardcover, nice format. It's slightly oversized, where your typical trade paperback is about this big. Your Deluxe Edition is a little bit oversized. And I just like the fact that the Deluxe Edition can include one entire story, takes up not that much room on your shelf, and it's got the whole story ready to go. So stuff like recent ones that I've gotten, like the Far Sector Deluxe Edition, Superman Up in the Sky, my favorite Superman story of all time. Some great, beautiful deluxe editions like this Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. So they're keeping the deluxe editions going. That's my favorite stuff. And then obviously they have the omnibus, they have the absolute editions. I'm not getting as much omnis and absolutes as I did at one point. I kind of look at my shelf and I look at what's coming out for absolutes and omnibus, and it's not really a ton that interests me, but it's cool that they're still keeping those lines going for those that are interested. I'm kind of switching more towards the compact, finest, and deluxe editions in terms of my priorities for what I'm collecting from DC. And then last but not least, I just want to talk about some of the different creators that DC has underneath their umbrella, some of the most impressive and exciting creators in the game, in my opinion. So you have great artists like Hayden Sherman, just killing it on Absolute Wonder Woman, but also doing some of the crossover, like sort of one-shot stories. And obviously we had Batman Dark Patterns. After that series has ended, it could be that Hayden Sherman picks up another series as well. We also have, of course, you have Jorge Jimenez and Dan Mora. They've been over at DC for the longest time, and they just keep killing it. Just the consistency is out of control from those two. Obviously you have Dan Mora dipping his toes and doing some Transformer stuff as well, but he's not doing Marvel stuff as much as he's doing DC. So I would consider Dan Mora and Jimenez for sure to be more on the DC side of things. You also have some really excellent writers. You have Mark Waid. He's been killing it for a good while now over at DC. A lot of series coming out of him. Really high quality stuff too. Dennis Camp, it seems like he might be leaning more towards DC with his new Bleeding Hearts series starting up out of DC Vertigo and the Ultimate Universe coming to an end. I could see Dennis Camp kind of leaning more towards the DC side of things, but I guess we'll have to wait on that one. Kelly Thompson as well has been killing it over at DC with Birds of Prey. That series just ended, but Absolute Wonder Woman, of course. Jason Aaron's in kind of the same boat. He's doing a lot of indie stuff, but the big two stuff, he's really focused on the DC side of things right now with Absolute Superman, of course. And then I'll just throw in Dan Waters and Ram V. They've been killing it over at DC as well. Ram V with The New Gods, with Resurrection Man, and then a new DC Vertigo title coming up. And I can imagine Ram V being picked for, one of these DC Next Level stuff as well. And yeah, Dan Waters, mentioned him, killing it on the recently ended Batman Dark Patterns, but then killing it over on Nightwing as well. So just a lot of my favorite creators in comic books are doing a lot of DC projects, and so that's really exciting. So yeah, overall, man, I hope that this video makes a lot of sense. Just me yapping about why I'm loving the current state of DC. They've got some really exciting lines like Absolute, Vertigo, cool initiatives like DC Next Level. The collected editions from the compacts to the DC Finest are really, really cool and something that I'm going to be investing in heavily into this new year. And then some of my favorite creators in the game are working over at DC, and everything I'm picking up, if it's from those creators, it's most likely going to be good. So that is the video. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know down in the comments your opinions on the current state of DC, and while you're down there, like if you like, sub if you love, and if you really like it, you can hype it. That helps out the channel quite a bit. Thank you guys for watching, and read more comics.